This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 878 of Horse Tip Daily. A different horse tip, a different equine topic, a different equestrian expert every day. Horse Tip Daily brings the world of equine knowledge to you, one day at a time. Greetings, horse people. Coach Jen here, and thanks for tuning in to Horse Tip Daily. Today's tip is from Dr. Gordon Chang, founder of Omega Alpha Equine, and it is all about developing a digestive support program for your horse. It's way more than just ulcers, folks. And we'll get right to our tip after this from Fleeceworks. Did you know it's not just your saddle that can cause pressure points on your horse's back? A poorly fitted saddle pad can do your horse harm, too. That's why Fleeceworks developed its exclusive FXK technology. Unlike old-fashioned pad with a hole in the withers, which may or may not lie where your horse's withers are, and features thick double layers right where it shouldn't, FXK is designed expressly to provide your horse protection through his entire top line. And all of Fleeceworks pads are made from pure merino sheepskin and merino sheep's wool to provide a low-bulk pad that offers the best thermal balancing properties available. No matter what discipline you ride, Fleeceworks has a saddle pad for your horse. So ask for Fleeceworks by name at your local tack supplier, or you can find them online at fleeceworks.com.
Good morning.
Good morning, all. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Where in the world are you today?
Oh, I am at home just getting ready to head off to the airport. And I'm heading down to the good old U.S. of A. today, actually. I'm heading down to Washington.
Okay, so still up north, though.
Yeah, we're still up north, but it ain't snowing up here yet. It's not,
okay. Not yet. Man. Well, what are we going to talk to you about today? Because I spent a lot of time at Galway Downs this past weekend with several different Omega Alpha products. So I'm interested to hear what you're going to talk about and see. Oh, digestive support. Yes, I did use that this weekend too. Go ahead.
Yeah, today I thought I'd talk about the importance of of a good digestive tract, especially in horses. Because one of the things that people don't realize about horses, they think they have a great digestive tract, or sometimes they don't even pay attention to it. They think ulcers and digestive tract and ulcers, that's it. That's the extent of digestive tract health. That's the only thing they think about, ulcers and digestive tract. Now, while ulcers are very important, yes, it makes the digestive tract very uncomfortable if your horse has ulcers. But for horses to thrive, they need to have a very good digestive tract, because if you realize it, these horses have their heads down. In the wild, they're probably eating 20 out of 24 hours, meaning just head down, nibbling at the grass or whatever food they can get. Their ability to digest is very dependent on things like probiotics. The ability to absorb is very dependent on the integrity of the digestive tract. So if you add ulcers on top of all of that, you can see why a horse could literally eat and not be able to absorb, not be able to digest, and so literally eat and starve. All right. Now, when people think of digestive tract, they think of, well, we'll give him, if he has ulcers, we'll give him some omeprazole, we'll call it a day, and he seems to perk right up. But one of the things that we do know about long-term use of things like omeprazole, what omeprazole does is that it inhibits acid production. And when it inhibits acid production in the stomach, it allows the ulcers to heal. But here's the downside to that. Chronic use and extended use of omeprazole, what will happen is that inhibition of acid allows a lot of things like bad bacteria to get down into the lower intestinal tract, and mycoplasmas and fungus to get in. Now, these things can inhibit or are not necessarily great for the digestive tract for many reasons. One is that they produce toxins which, if the horse absorbs too much of it, it makes them sick. So you can see that easily. But if you have horses, or even yourself, if you've been taking a lot of antibiotics, what you'll find is that you tend to get sick a lot easier, right? So in cases like that, it's a good thing to use a lot of probiotics to help fight off these mycoplasmas and so on, right? Another thing with, if you have, for the horses especially, I would say, they're very dependent on the bacteria in the hindgut and also in the small intestinal tract, etc., down of things like cellulose, and help in the digestion of some of these food, some of their food, so that they can get the things like the proteins and so on out of it, right? So again, it's very important to have a very good digestive tract. So this is why we all tell people, if you're going to use ulcer products, which is good, you have to use them because it's 6 of one, half of the dozen of the other. Because if the horse is suffering from pain because of ulcers, right, he's not going to be eating anyway. So you got to soothe that digestive tract. If you can help with that, add the probiotics as a secondary product to use to help with the ulcers. Last but not least, I always strongly suggest that people give their horses when they're not feeding them, because most of us feed our horses twice a day, 3 times a day, 3 squares, like the way we eat. Right? Well, horses need to be chewing all the time just because their gut is constantly producing acid. So they need what's called gut fill. So I always suggest that people use a low grade hay, right? Something like a Timothy hay, which is a lot of fiber. And basically what that will do is that it will it'll give them something in their gut which will help soak up that acid, to help buffer that acid. And if you help something that's a buffer the acid, that also helps with things like ulcers.
Well, I find it fascinating that you're talking about this today, Dr. Cheng, because just last week, or 2 weeks ago, Jet, my thoroughbred colicked, and through treating the impaction, we also decided to go ahead and treat for ulcers and do the 28-day Gastrogard treatment. Now, on the same vein, I have another thoroughbred that I just started on Biotic 8. And I started thinking, I'm like, okay, he's on Biotic 8 because he's not very thrifty. He's an off-the-track guy. He just hasn't really bulked up in the several months that I've had him off the track, almost a year, I guess. And so I put him on Biotic 8, and I started thinking, I wonder if I should put Jet on Biotic 8 too during this treatment for ulcers. And so you're saying that would be definitely a good idea?
That's right. And also what you'll find with if you have good bacteria and so on down there, or if you have a healthy gut, you will have less incidence of colic, right? Colic is, nobody really knows why you would get colic, okay? There's several reasons why, but nobody has a definitive answer. Nobody will say to you, yeah, you're feeding your horse, this is going to produce colic, okay? But a lot of it can be traced back to also the type of bacteria in the gut, because if you don't have the good, what's called a good bacteria in the gut, the waste products produced by some of the bad bacteria, fungi, and so can also trigger ulcers. Colic. Right?
So do horses need to stay on Biotic 8 all the time, like sensitive horses, or do they just do it every once in a while?
Sensitive horses should stay on it, but once you have, think of bacteria, which is in Biotic 8, as lawn seed. Once the lawn seed is caught on your lawn, you grow a nice healthy lawn. But every so often you got to give some more lawn seed, because if you don't, what's going to happen is the grasses die off, and as soon as the grass die off, if you have bad bacteria floating around, it's like weeds. As soon as you have a bare spot in your lawn, that's where the weeds go first, right? And for whatever reason, they're able to outcompete the grass. So that's why it's a good idea to every so often, if your horse is normally healthy and you see no problems, still, every so often, maybe once a week, give him a shot of Biotic 8.
Gotcha. Okay, so you don't have to go through a whole bottle. You can actually just give it to him once a week or so. That's awesome.
If he's healthy. If he's sensitive and he's also, like, for example, if you have a racehorse, because I listened to you talking a little bit about racehorses, because of the stress that they're under, right, they should be on it all the time. If you have show horses, if you have a backyard horse that's just walking around, tooling around and giving the occasional ride to kids type of thing, once a week is probably good enough for them. As somebody once pointed out to me, just because they're backyard horses have problems too.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Come to my backyard, honey. Take a look around. Well, I just want to thank you. I'm going to let you go here in a second, but I want to thank you because something happened at the horse trial this weekend. I had Jet on Anti-Flam, which is, kind of helps their joints and helps them feel a little bit better. Why don't you give everybody the Reader's Digest on what Anti-Flam does?
Well, Anti-Flam is a very good anti-inflammatory, but it works really well on things like on feet and joints. So if you have a horse with sore feet, it works really, really well on those type of things. So it helps take away the pain. And the best part about it, it does not irritate the stomach. Sorry, go ahead.
No, so Jet has some hock pain. We've been treating that. This horse is, you just have to have a vet look at every end of him all the time. Mm-hmm. But so I put him on the Anti-Flam for my horse trial this weekend, thinking, buffer the stomach, give him something. He doesn't need to be on a whole bunch of bute. And guess what happened right after my show jumping? I got randomly selected for a drug test. Ding, 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 ding. And, of course, does Anti-Flam show up on a drug test?
No, definitely not. Nothing we have gives you a positive drug test.
Exactly.
Because there's no pharmaceuticals in any of these things. They're all natural herbal products. Even the compounds that we expect to find in it are not on any banned substance list.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's why you'll never get a positive. But before we leave digestive health, one of the things that I was going to do a plug for is a product that we have called Regenerec. A lot of people have gone to competition and they say, or pre-competition or post-competition, they say, my horse just won't eat for 2 days afterwards, okay? And they'll just look at the food and turn up their nose at the food, And I know for performance horses, race horses, jumpers, dressage horses, if a horse doesn't eat, they start to lose weight real quick. And if you're a performance horse, that's the last thing you want to happen to your horse. What we have, this product called Regenerec, is amazing. If you put your horses on this within 24 hours, right, after the first or second dose, your horse's nose will be in that feed bucket, just eating away as if there's no tomorrow.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's a good way to maintain weight. For transporting your horses, from your barn to the showground. Sometimes, especially if it's a long way away, they won't eat when they get to the new location.
Right. So, of course, you can find all of these products at OmegaAlphaEquine.com, and you can always, if you have any questions, you can contact them. They are very happy to help you. If you have questions about any of the products, you can actually just email Omega Alpha and just say, hey, my horse does this. What do you recommend? And like me, if you are at a competition and you want your horse to have a little help because they deserve it, because they're working hard, and you don't want to get drug tested and have problems, go to Omega Alpha Equine, because I wasn't even worried. I was like, oh, follow me. I'll get them to pee in a cup for you. So it worked out great. Well, of course, Dr. Chang, thank you so very much for being a part of the show, and thanks for what you do for the horse world.
And that's a wrap. You can also find lots more tips on topics ranging from barn care to websites for horse people at horsetipdaily.com. Just look for the topics drop-down menu on the left. And if you love listening to the Horses in the Morning gang putting in their 2 cents on everything horse, along with fascinating interviews from around the equestrian world, you can tune in every weekday at horsesinthemorning.com. And don't forget to support our sponsors here on Horse Tip Daily, because they really do make these podcasts possible. And today's podcast has been made possible through the generous support of Fleeceworks. You can ask for Fleeceworks saddle pads and accessories at your local tack store, or you can visit them online at fleeceworks.com. And now, wait for it, you can have all of your favorite Horse Radio Network shows with you wherever you go with the free Horse Radio Network app for iPhone and Android. Just go to your app store and search Horse Radio Network. The Horse Radio Network and the Horse Radio Network hosts are not responsible for statements of guests or their opinions. Use your own judgment when listening to the tips provided by the experts on Horse Tip Daily.